Welcome to our channel, where books come alive on screen. Get ready for 5-chapter wonders that inform, captivate, and spark your imagination. Join us in this literary journey where every chapter is an adventure. Gangs Unveiled, the MS-13 vs. 18th Street Showdown, by Just Stories. Chapter 1, Origins of Conflict. Imagine stepping into a world where adversity and struggle shape the lives of countless individuals, providing fertile ground for the growth of two of the most notorious street gangs, the MS-13 and the 18th Street Gang. This chapter takes you on a journey through the tumultuous origins of these rival factions, revealing the circumstances that gave rise to their existence. A turbulent backdrop. In the 20th century, the landscape of Central America was marked by political upheavals, economic disparities, and civil unrest. Countries like El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras were gripped by social inequalities and corrupt governance. Amidst these challenges, a large number of citizens faced limited opportunities, often leading to a cycle of poverty and desperation. This environment set the stage for the emergence of the MS-13 and the 18th Street Gang. Formation and fractures. The MS-13, or Mara Salvatrucha, traces its origins to the streets of Los Angeles in the 1980s. Many of its early members were young Salvadoran immigrants fleeing the civil war in El Salvador. Finding themselves in unfamiliar and sometimes hostile surroundings, they formed the gang as a means of protection and solidarity. Over time, however, internal divisions and external pressures pushed some members to more violent and criminal activities. On the other hand, the 18th Street Gang, also known as Barrio 18, originated around the same time. Comprising primarily of immigrants from Mexico and Central America, the gang was initially established as a response to the dominance of other existing groups. While it began as a neighborhood support network, it eventually evolved into a sprawling criminal organization with its own complexities and rivalries. Fueled by identity, the sense of identity played a significant role in the formation and growth of these gangs. For many members, joining a gang offered a sense of belonging that was absent from their lives. It was a way to reclaim their cultural heritage, find camaraderie, and protect themselves in environments that were often hostile. Gangs like the MS-13 and 18th Street became a way to create a new identity in the face of marginalization. Transnational expansion. As these gangs gained momentum, they extended their reach beyond their countries of origin. Mass deportations of gang members from the United States back to Central America in the 1990s acted as a catalyst for the internationalization of their activities. This migration of gang culture across borders led to the expansion of the MS-13 and 18th Street, often with violent consequences for the communities they infiltrated. Seeds of conflict. The origins of the conflict between the MS-13 and 18th Street Gang can be traced back to territorial disputes, power struggles, and personal vendettas. What began as attempts to secure their place within their respective neighborhoods escalated into a cycle of violence, retaliation, and a deadly rivalry that has persisted to this day. As you delve into the origins of this conflict, remember that understanding the past is essential for comprehending the complexities of the present. The formation of the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs within the backdrop of socio-political upheaval and the search for identity sheds light on the challenges faced by individuals drawn into their fold. Chapter 2, Territories and Turf Wars. Welcome to the gritty reality of urban landscapes where boundaries aren't just lines on a map, but fiercely contested territories that define the power dynamics between the MS-13 and 18th Street Gang. In this chapter, we'll journey through the neighborhoods and alleys where these rival factions plant their flags, exploring the complexities of their territorial control and the intense battles that ensue. In cities across Central America and even beyond, the MS-13 and 18th Street Gang have carved out distinct territories. These territories are more than just physical spaces. They symbolize control over resources, influence, and the ability to exert authority over the local population. The sprawling urban sprawl becomes a chessboard where each move carries high stakes. The street codes. These territories aren't just marked by physical boundaries, they're also governed by unwritten rules and codes that dictate how interactions occur within each gang's domain. Crossing into another gang's turf without permission can be a deadly mistake, potentially sparking violence and retaliation. The street codes dictate respect, loyalty, and, above all, dominance. Challenges to these codes can quickly escalate into full-scale conflicts. Control over resources. Turf control isn't just about pride, it's about access to resources. The gangs vie for control over areas where illicit activities, such as drug trafficking and extortion, can thrive. By establishing dominance in a neighborhood, a gang gains access to a steady stream of income and influence. The stakes are high, and battles are often fought not just to expand territory, but to protect the revenue streams that sustain their operations. Recruitment and influence. Territories also play a role in recruitment and influence. Gang members often come from the same neighborhoods they seek to control, making the recruitment process easier. Young individuals facing limited opportunities might be drawn into the allure of gang life, seeking protection, camaraderie, and a sense of identity. The established presence of a gang in a neighborhood can make it seem like the only viable path, perpetuating a cycle of membership. Gang migration and global reach. What's fascinating is that the territorial battles of the MS-13 and 18th Street Gang aren't confined to a single city or even a single country. Both gangs have expanded their reach across borders, creating intricate networks that span multiple nations. This transnational presence often leads to confrontations not only with rival gangs, but also with law enforcement agencies that struggle to contain their influence. Casualties and collateral damage. In these turf wars, it's not just the gang members who suffer. Innocent civilians often find themselves caught in the crossfire, facing violence, extortion, and instability. Entire communities become pawns in the power struggles between these rival factions, bearing the brunt of the conflict's consequences. The human cost of these turf wars is a sobering reminder of the impact that gang rivalries can have on society. As we explore the territories and turf wars of the MS-13 and 18th Street Gang, remember that the lines on the map hold stories of struggle, power, and survival. The battles fought over these spaces reveal the lengths to which these gangs are willing to go to establish dominance and secure their place in the chaotic urban landscapes they call home. Chapter 3: Lifestyles and Loyalties. Step behind the curtain of the gritty world of gang life, where loyalties are forged in the crucible of adversity and where a sense of belonging is often the driving force behind individuals' decisions to join the MS-13 or 18th Street Gang. In this chapter, we'll explore the personal stories that shape the lifestyles and loyalties of those who become entangled in these rival factions. The allure of belonging. For many individuals, the appeal of gang life lies in the promise of belonging to a close-knit community. The sense of brotherhood or sisterhood that gangs offer can fill a void left by fractured families, limited opportunities, and social isolation. In a world where survival can be a daily challenge, the bonds formed within these gangs provide a lifeline of support. A sense of identity. Gangs like the MS-13 and 18th Street Gang offer a way to establish a new identity, distinct from the one society has imposed upon them. Young people often seek a way to break free from stereotypes and labels, and joining a gang can offer an alternative sense of self. By adopting a gang name, attire, and symbols, members carve out a space where they can redefine who they are and what they stand for. Family and community ties. Loyalty is a cornerstone of gang life, and this loyalty extends not only to fellow gang members, but also to the broader community. For many individuals, their loyalty to the gang becomes intertwined with their loyalty to their neighborhood and even their culture. This loyalty can be a source of pride, giving individuals a sense of purpose and identity in a world that may otherwise feel indifferent. Challenges and sacrifices. Life within a gang isn't without its challenges and sacrifices. Gang members often face heightened risks of violence, arrest, and early death. The loyalty demanded by the gang can lead to personal sacrifices, strained relationships, and a constant threat to one's safety. Yet, for some, these sacrifices are deemed necessary in exchange for the support, protection, and status that gang membership provides. Breaking the cycle. While the appeal of gang life is strong, many individuals within these gangs yearn for a way out. Breaking free from the grip of loyalty and identity can be an uphill battle, but stories of individuals who manage to escape and transform their lives offer glimmers of hope. Programs and initiatives aimed at providing alternatives to gang life play a crucial role in helping young individuals see a future beyond the confines of the gang's influence. A complex tapestry, the lifestyles and loyalties of those within the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs paint a complex and multifaceted picture. Behind the headlines and statistics lie human stories of individuals searching for belonging, identity, and a way to navigate the challenges of their circumstances. As we explore these stories, let's remember that understanding the motivations behind gang membership can shed light on the complex interplay of personal choices and societal pressures. Chapter 4: Confrontations and Collisions. Picture a landscape marked by tension, where clashes between rival factions are more than just isolated incidents. They're part of a volatile rivalry that has shaped the trajectories of the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs. This chapter takes you into the heart of these confrontations, exploring the factors that fuel the rivalry, the high-stakes clashes, and the far-reaching consequences that ripple through the communities affected. Feuds and frenzies. The rivalry between the MS-13 and 18th Street gang isn't just about turf, it's often about power, honor, and a drive to assert dominance. Disputes over territory, resources, and respect can escalate quickly, leading to confrontations that range from verbal altercations to full-scale battles. These feuds often take on a life of their own, fueled by a cycle of retaliation, vendettas, and an unwavering desire to prove one's strength. Tit-for-tat retaliation. In the world of these gangs, retaliation is a way of life. When one side is perceived as having been wronged, retribution follows suit. This tit-for-tat dynamic can lead to a seemingly never-ending cycle of violence, as each side tries to one-up the other. What starts as a personal dispute can escalate into a larger conflict that engulfs entire neighborhoods, leaving a trail of casualties and chaos in its wake. Power struggles and alliances. The confrontations between the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs often transcend individual grievances. Power struggles within and between these organizations can lead to alliances, betrayals, and shifting loyalties. When rival factions within a single gang vie for control, internal tensions can mirror those of the larger conflict. These internal battles can be just as explosive as the clashes between the two gangs themselves. Battles beyond borders. The rivalry between the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs is not confined to specific neighborhoods or even countries. The transnational nature of these gangs means that confrontations can span borders, leading to battles not just with rival gangs, but also with law enforcement agencies across different jurisdictions. This global reach amplifies the stakes of these confrontations and complicates efforts to maintain control. Collateral damage and community impact. Perhaps the most tragic consequence of these confrontations is the toll they take on innocent bystanders and the communities caught in the crossfire. Schools, businesses, and families often find themselves affected by the violence. Residents may become reluctant witnesses or victims of extortion and violence, perpetuating a cycle of fear and instability. Pathways to resolution. While the confrontations and collisions between these rival gangs have garnered attention for their brutality, it's important to remember that pathways to resolution exist. Community-driven initiatives, social programs, and reintegration efforts can provide individuals with alternatives to gang life. Stories of former gang members who have chosen to leave the life of violence behind offer hope that change is possible. As we navigate through the world of confrontations and collisions, let's remember that the stories of these clashes are more than just sensational headlines. They reveal the complex dynamics of power, loyalty, and violence that shape the lives of those within the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs, as well as the communities they impact. Chapter 5: Law Enforcement and Community Responses. In the ongoing struggle against the influence of the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs, law enforcement agencies and communities alike are working tirelessly to disrupt the power dynamics, offer alternatives, and pave the way for change. This chapter delves into the intricate web of efforts aimed at curbing the impact of these gangs, fostering rehabilitation, and rebuilding affected communities. The battle on two fronts. Law enforcement agencies find themselves in a complex battle on two fronts, combating the criminal activities of these gangs and addressing the underlying factors that contribute to their growth. From intelligence operations and targeted arrests to investigations and prosecution, law enforcement plays a critical role in disrupting gang operations. Yet, they also recognize that simply focusing on suppression is not enough. Addressing root causes is essential. Gang databases and intelligence gathering. Law enforcement agencies rely on extensive databases and intelligence networks to track and monitor gang activities. These resources help identify key members, track their movements, and gather evidence for prosecutions. By understanding the inner workings of the gangs, authorities can anticipate potential conflicts and strategically intervene to prevent violence. Community policing and prevention. Efforts to combat gang influence also extend to the community level. Community policing initiatives aim to build trust between law enforcement and residents, fostering a collaborative approach to crime prevention. By working with local communities, officers gain valuable insights into the challenges they face and can tailor their strategies to address specific needs. Rehabilitation and reintegration. Breaking the cycle of gang involvement requires more than just arrests. It demands a comprehensive approach to rehabilitation and reintegration. Many communities and organizations provide support for individuals who wish to leave gang life behind. Educational programs, vocational training, and counseling services offer alternatives to the streets, helping former gang members build new identities and futures. Restoring communities. The impact of these gangs goes beyond the immediate conflicts. They leave a lasting mark on the communities they infiltrate. Community responses often focus on rebuilding and restoring areas affected by violence. Efforts to create safe spaces, provide educational opportunities, and empower residents can gradually shift the balance of power away from the influence of gangs. Global cooperation. Given the transnational nature of these gangs, cooperation between countries is crucial. Law enforcement agencies across borders share information, collaborate on investigations, and work together to apprehend individuals involved in criminal activities. This global effort is essential in dismantling the complex networks these gangs have established. Stories of hope and transformation. Amid the challenges, stories of hope and transformation emerge. Former gang members who have successfully reintegrated into society become ambassadors for change, offering proof that individuals can break free from the grip of gang life. Their experiences serve as inspiration for others, illustrating that a different path is possible. A collective endeavor. As we delve into the responses of law enforcement and communities, it's clear that combating the influence of the MS-13 and 18th Street gangs requires a collective endeavor. By addressing both the symptoms and root causes of gang involvement, communities and authorities alike are working to disrupt the status quo and offer pathways to a safer, more stable future. In this battle for change, every effort counts, and the stories of progress remind us that transformation is possible, one step at a time. Thank you for diving into the world of words with us. If you had a blast exploring this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share the bookish love with your friends, and make sure to subscribe for more amazing 5-chapter adventures.